Hey Sue, how you doing? It's a pleasure
Uh,
to meet you.
I'm very well, Liam, and I really appreciate having this conversation with you. I'm really looking forward to it.
So welcome to Meet the Boss Junior. Today I'm speaking with you, Steve Worrell, CEO of Microsoft Australia. First question, you might know I love cars. What's your favorite car?
My favourite car might surprise you, Liam, but it's a Ute. When I was growing up, when I went through university, I had a yellow Ute. It was by far and away my favourite car.
Cool. So think back to when you were a kid. What did you want to do when you grew up?
This is actually not, it's a little known fact, but I wanted to play cricket for Australia. I was a big cricketer. I used to spend all of my spare time playing cricket at school and with my mates. And I wanted to go out and bowl, open the bowling for Australia. Didn't quite bring that dream to life, unfortunately, Liam, but that's what I wanted to do.
I want to hear all about your work, but first tell me your story. How did you get to be a CEO?
Yeah, I think it was a long journey. I started in the tech industry. I started with a company called IBM, Liam, you might have heard, many years ago. And I worked in different parts of IBM's business here, and I worked overseas. And then I came back and I joined Microsoft. And there's never any guarantees that you're going to be CEO, but I had always wanted to do my best and maybe put my best foot forward. And then a few years ago, I had the opportunity to step into the role. And so I would say the answer to your question is just lots of hard work, actually, because it was 25 years of working in the industry and learning about what my business does and working with our customers that sort of put me in a position to then have that chance.
I want to hear all about your work, but first tell me what your product is and who are your customers.
Yeah, well, I work at Microsoft, so we have lots of different products, but you might know Windows and the Surface range and Xbox and some of those cool products. So there's some of the products that we have, and we have lots of customers. Kids, students, through small organizations, large organizations, and everyone in between. So lots and lots of people use Microsoft products, and we're really lucky to be in a position to provide our technology to help so many people do what they do every day.
What do you love most about your job?
There are many things I love about my job, but the one thing, if I had to pick one, is that I get to do lots of things that go well beyond just the business interests. What I mean by that is my company feels really passionate about doing things that matter for school kids, for our communities, for our society. And I get to work on things like mental health or helping to create new jobs for kids coming through into the industry, or helping use technology for those who might have a short or long-term disability to either get a job or to just engage in the digital world around them. And so I'm really lucky to work in a company that feels passionately about using technology to do things that actually really matter.
So what's the hardest thing about your job?
The hardest thing, I don't know. That is a tough question, actually. I think perhaps trying to help our team and our customers navigate through the last couple of years, because it's been so difficult, as you would know at school, right? With COVID, it's been just so hard to do things in a normal way. And I think the hardest thing has just been working with my team and with my customers and my partners to just work out how best to help all of us get through this time, and then not just get through, obviously, to do as well as we can and to help support so many people in hospitals, in schools, and different parts of our community. And so that's probably been the hardest thing, I think.
So what's one piece of advice for me as I think about starting my own company?
Well, I've got a couple of my little kids here as well, Liam, and I give them advice, and they sort of roll their eyes at me when I give advice. So hopefully this, this will help work for you. It certainly, I certainly have difficulty getting it through to my kids from time to time. But look, I think you're just being passionate about what you do, like being really into what it is that you feel you want to put your time and effort into. So being passionate, choosing something that you really want to contribute to. And then, as I mentioned earlier, working hard, being able to stay the course. And, things don't happen overnight. And oftentimes, most of the times, and when I look back in my life, the things that I learned the most were usually when I'd made mistakes. And being a learner, being prepared to acknowledge that none of us are perfect and we're going to make mistakes, and that's probably a really good thing because that's how you learn. I think there's some of the lessons that have helped me in my life. I'm still making plenty of mistakes, though, I have to say, Liam, so it doesn't stop. You keep learning.
Looks like that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for coming on this show and sharing your story. Best luck with your future.
Well, Liam, I want to say the best of luck to you, because I believe this might be one of about a dozen or so interviews you've done. So tell me, how did you get started with these interviews?
My dad, so I wanted to start a company, but my dad didn't know how to help me, but he knew other people who could, because they started companies and they know what it's like. And then we started the Meet the Boss program, and yeah, we started interviewing people.
That's so cool. You've got so much to be proud of, Liam. It's fantastic to meet you and have this chat. Now, what about the most interesting thing that you've learned so far? What's been the most interesting thing that you've discovered?
The people who I've interviewed favorite cars are like their first cars.
Yeah.
Bob Wilhelm's first car was a Ford Mustang.
Ah, right.
Favorite car.
Yeah.
And that surprised me.
Yeah. And if you had a car company, what cars would you make, Liam? Would you make Ford Mustangs, or would you make electric cars, or what would you do?
I'd make very luxury electric cars with tons of cool stuff that are made cheaply too, and
Awesome.
really efficient.
Well, we need more electric cars, that's for sure. So I wish you every success, my friend, because that's exactly what we need more of. People like you who are thinking about the future and building things and helping our planet so that we can manage our resources and obviously have a more sustainable future. So I wish you all the very best, Liam.
Thanks so much, Steve. Wow.